Beautiful ones. There's a moment in every metamorphosis the world never sees. Not the moment the wings unfurl, and not the moment the transformation is complete. No, it's the moment before that, when you're still inside the cocoon, quietly dissolving what you used to be. A moment where the old self thins like old paper held up to the sun. And you feel, not hear, but you feel a tiny shift, a soft crack from within. Not fear, it's not collapse, just the unmistakable sound of a story ending because a truer one is beginning. That is where this week begins. So last week revealed the truth, and this week asks you to become it in your body, in your choices, and in the way you hold yourself when no one is watching. Hello, beautiful ones. I'm Cindi, astrologer, mystic, and your guide through the stars. And welcome to Forecasts That Shift Timelines. This is where we don't just track astrology, we track the moment your soul shifts directions. This week isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, and it isn't chaotic. It's deeper than that. This is the cocoon phase. So I'm talking about from November 23rd till the 29th, okay? Or through the 29th. This is the cocoon phase. This is the sacred undoing, where the old identity becomes soft enough to be rewritten. This is the week of metamorphosis. So let's step softly into the story the sky is telling this week. We're going to start with the Scorpio chamber, where truth melts the old form. So inside late Scorpio, 21, 23, 27, right? Degrees. This is late Scorpio. We have Venus, and Venus, you know, is what you value, what you're ready to receive. And then we have Lilith, and Lilith is the self you were taught to exile. Okay. And then we have Mercury retrograde. And I talked about Mercury retrograde last week. And you can go back and watch that if you'd like. But Mercury retrograde is showing us this is where the original contract is coming up for your review. Okay. Now, they are huddled together in the deepest room of the psyche. That's Scorpio. Okay. These three form the inner alchemy. Think of it as the liquefaction phase of the metamorphosis. Okay. This is where the original contracts come up for review right here. This is also where the self you exiled comes back home. And this is also where your desires return with a pulse again. So this week, it won't feel like insight. Okay. This isn't new. It's going to feel like memory. All right. So you may notice this week a truth rising that you thought you'd outgrown. You may also notice this week a desire resurfacing that you once denied. Okay. Also, you can notice, or it may happen to you, a pattern you can suddenly see like all the way through very clearly. Okay. Also, a boundary forming without effort. Like it's just a boundary that's forming. Okay. It's not you thinking about it, mulling it over. It's just a boundary that's formed. It's without effort. Also, you could, or you may notice a feeling in your chest or stomach that says it's time. Okay. So what I want you to know when this happens, or if you notice these things, this is not you regressing. Okay. This is you reorganizing. Okay, we're going through a metamorphosis this week. At least that's my interpretation, right? Okay. Then we have Uranus at 29 degrees. So we have this little cluster over here that's going to the deepest part of your soul contracts, your psyche. Okay. And then we have Uranus at 29-degree Taurus. This is breaking the survival spell. We are at the end of Taurus. Okay. We have dealt with Uranus and Taurus for 7 years. And this was about our resources and our survival and how we're going to bring that forward, right? So think about this as this is the edge. This is the last degree. This is the place where an old coping pattern snaps. It's not violently, but it is snapping cleanly, okay? So, because it's Taurus, your body may say at some point this week when all these things are going on, I can't numb this anymore. And suddenly you feel disconnected from an old coping mechanism. Okay. Your body may also say, I don't want the comfort I used to crave. And then that same comfort, if it comes up, feels very uncomfortable for you. Okay. That's how you'll know that's your body. Okay. Your body may also say, this version of me, it doesn't fit. And then you'll notice an old habit just kind of dissolves on its own. All right. That, my beautiful ones, is Uranus redirecting or rewriting your instinct. Okay. Now, while this is going on, we have Pluto in Aquarius, right? We've got 19 years of Pluto in Aquarius left, right? So this is building, because we're at 1 degree, building the new internal architecture. Now, Pluto in Aquarius right now is quietly in the background. Something new is forming. Okay, you don't know what it is yet. You're kind of directing it. You're feeling your way through it. We can sense it in on the global level in society, but something new is forming. We can sort of see bits of it, right? But it's in the background and it's quietly doing it. Okay, so this may feel to you like a thought that feels foreign, but it's right. Right? That makes sense? Or a preference you didn't even know you had. Okay? Or it could feel like a direction that wasn't obvious until now. Okay? Pluto doesn't shout. Pluto builds. Okay? And then this week, we also still have that Saturn retrograde at 25 degrees and Neptune at 29 degrees in Pisces. Right? This is dissolving the illusion, all right? We are about to finish this 14-year and then this 3-year transit about dissolving the illusion, okay? So this week, this is the softest part of the metamorphosis. This is the moment, the story you carried most of your life. You're finally seeing that it's losing its power simply because you've outgrown it. Okay? Beliefs that kept you small, they don't even make sense to you anymore. And old narratives feel like that belief you had doesn't hold power anymore. It feels old and outdated. The truth you lived is by, so that truth that you lived by dissolves on contact with who you're becoming. This, my beautiful ones, is your light rearranging itself inside you. Now, let's follow the moon because she's the one translating the metamorphosis from energy into feeling. You have to remember the moon is your perception of life and the world. It's also how you feel or connect with everything and everyone. Okay? So she's taking you through the 3 stages of this cocoon. All right. So on Sunday and Monday, she's going to be in Capricorn. Right. And this is the first crack. This is the moment your nervous system says something is shifting. Now, it's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's just like a quiet internal weight moving. Okay. Now, this may show up like waking with a heaviness you can't explain, or like sitting on the edge of the bed and feeling off, right? Or you may find yourself, it may show up as like you suddenly wanting to organize something because your body wants stability, right? You may also have the feeling of pressure of a truth you haven't even spoken yet. Okay. It's the internal crack in the cocoon, the point where what used to fit doesn't sit comfortable anymore. On a collective view, you may find that systems are bending, institutions are showing strain, leaders revise decisions, right? This may come up and may be happening this week. You may notice this. As the moon by Tuesday and Wednesday morning, as the moon enters Aquarius, right? This is the reorganization. Okay. As the moon enters Aquarius, the emotional fog will begin to lift, right? But it's just enough for you to see the pattern beneath the pattern, right? So moments that may come up for you may be like a thought clicking into place. You're like, yeah, that's it, right? Or you could have where you're like recognizing the real reason behind a reaction that you're having. Okay. Like maybe you had it a couple of days ago and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is why I'm feeling this way. This is what triggered me, right? Also, when the moon goes into Aquarius, because Aquarius is really good at this, you'll begin to like sort of detach, but not completely. It's just enough for you to see the truth clearly in something. Okay. Like it's just enough to give you that bird's eye view, right? Or you could be, when the moon is in Aquarius, receiving a sudden idea that feels almost future, like the future you is speaking, if that makes sense. Okay. Because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn, but Uranus is genius and will give you like that future you. It'll help you connect to the future you, right? So this is where structure is loosening. Okay. It's not breaking, it's just rearranging itself. All right. Now, on a global level, we may see conservations shift, hidden motives appear, and truths will sort of echo louder this week. Okay. Especially when the moon is in Aquarius. Now, by Wednesday evening until Saturday, this is where the moon goes into Pisces. Okay. This is the disillusion. Okay. This is the deep water. This is the liquefaction phase. Okay. This is where everything is where your phase of your part of the metamorphosis is sort of liquefying. All right. This is the sacred softening. Okay. So it might arrive as you'll suddenly, and without like any sadness or any trigger, you could have tears come up. Okay. Also, you could be like remembering an old version of yourself, but looking at that version with compassion. Okay. It's not hate. It's not shame. It's not aggravation. It's like compassion, right? You may also like want more quiet and solitude, or sort of like to be in your spiritual space, your spiritual comfort. Okay. This is all when when the moon moves into Pisces. And also you could have like a sense, almost like a sense of forgiveness, on its own. Like you're just seeing things with empathy, right? And compassion. Okay. So here, the identity, it's not breaking, it's melting, it's liquefying, it's disillusion, right? So and it's melting, it's transforming so that something truer can form, that's trying to form within you, right? on a collective level or on a global level, we may see public emotions or collective release or soft revelations, not big jolting ones, but just sort of soft revelations. This isn't a breakthrough week. Remember this. This is not a breakthrough week. This is an undoing week. Okay? But it's not a harsh, you know, climactic undoing. It's not a big jolting one. It's a very soft. Remember, metamorphosis, we're sort of transmuting slowly. Okay? It's a soft, sacred unraveling. And here's how the metamorphosis will feel. Okay. Now, some of you will get some of these, some of you will get all of them. Okay. There are going to be moments this week where you're going to feel done. It's quietly and it's completely, though. It's not angry and it's not dramatic. It's just like you just finished with something that you've known that you carried too long. Okay. And you're just like done. Okay. Also, there are going to be moments this week where your body rejects old patterns before your mind catches up. Okay. This is where your instinct is shifting. This is your nervous system helping you right up here. And it's saying, not this anymore. We're not doing this. And you can't force yourself into these old behaviors anymore. You're going to find that. Okay. Now, also, there are going to be moments this week where your voice softens and clarifies. Okay. You are going to be like speaking differently. Your tone carries a truth instead of like protection or armor, right? It's sort of just stating, but it's not in a harsh tone. It's just much softer with clarity. Okay. This is all part of the metamorphosis, right? If you're having these things come up, this is you transforming. This is you transmuting. This is you having that metamorphosis, okay? Also, there are going to be moments this week where you choose nourishment over numbing. Okay? This isn't willpower. It's the new identity that's choosing for you. It's your new identity choosing for you, where it wants to be nourished instead of trying to numb everything out. Okay? Also, there could be moments this week where you begin tending to the small things, like adjusting your routine or maybe even rearranging your space, or for some of you, drinking more water, or others of you sleeping differently, right? These are identity breadcrumbs. This is the subtle reorganizing of your life. Okay. So just know you're right on time. You're right where you're supposed to be when these things come about. Okay. There's also going to be moments this week where it's one of the quietest moments. It's like a flicker of hope. Okay. It's not bright. It's not an epiphany. It's not loud. It's just like this warm amber of maybe I'm becoming someone I can trust. Like that. Okay, just so I'm clear, let me explain to you how the weekend flow unfolds like a cocoon opening. Okay, so Sunday, you'll have that Capricorn, that moon in Capricorn, and you'll sort of remember it's the crack. You'll sort of feel the shift, right? So, example is like waking with an unexplainable heaviness, or looking at something in your life and thinking, I can't do this the old way anymore, right? Or even someone's comment finally landing and it's a boundary for you, okay? Or you're feeling tired of pretending something is okay when it isn't, all right? Now, collectively, we'll see, could see if we're not already, institutions feeling pressure, okay? Or a system shows its crack, or a leader quietly walks back a decision. Okay, this is the first crack in the cocoon. Okay, that's on Sunday. And then on Monday, as the Capricorn is still, as the moon is still in Capricorn, you have the realization, right? So a truth that you've circled finally gets clear and lands. Okay, so you may, by Monday, admit something to yourself, like while you're by yourself in the shower or something, or you feel the emotional cost of an old pattern. Or you may recognize imbalance in a relationship. Or you may have a moment of honest clarity you didn't seek. Okay. Now, on a collective level, on a global level, we may see governments revise policies or companies release uncomfortable statements. The truth begins to reorganize the narrative. Okay. Now, by Tuesday, the pattern reveals itself, right? This is where Mercury, Venus, conjunct. Okay, Mercury retrograde. So this is the shadow contract rising. So you may feel, or you might have, react to something and suddenly see the original wound, right? So you'll have the reaction and then you'll see what started all this, why you feel the way that you feel, why you're triggered or angry or in that state, right? So this is when Mercury retrograde and Venus are conjunct. Okay, so something will come up. Also, you're going to notice your default role in your relationships. You're going to notice that pattern that you hadn't noticed before. Okay. Also, you might have a memory surface that brings freedom, not pain. Okay. Also, you might hear a small comment from someone that reveals like the whole pattern. It was the missing piece that you needed to understand. Okay. That's on Tuesday. On a collective level, on a global level, we may see hidden motives that become visible. Okay. Right now, we're in Scorpio and those things are being brought up to the surface. Nothing's hiding. I'm telling you, everything's coming out. Okay. We may also see like a story changes direction. All right. What we thought, it's sort of changing into a very different direction. Also, something previously denied gets confirmed. Okay, so look for that globally or societally, right? Then by Wednesday, when the moon is in Pisces, right here, this is like, think of it like the where the caterpillar melts. Okay, so you may feel, remember I said this before, tears that release, right? And you don't really know, nothing's triggered it. You can't pinpoint. This is like um triggers, tears that help you release, okay? Also, you see your past self and you see your um past phases, and you look at them with compassion instead of with shame or regret or disgust or anger or any of that. You sort of see them with compassion. All right. Also, you'll have a desire for being by yourself, being quiet. Okay. Also, forgiveness. You'll feel it like rising from nowhere. Okay. Also, something old you'll feel is like finally letting go of you. Okay. In the public or on a societal level, we'll have a public where we'll see public emotions rise, right? And healing conversations will start to circulate. Okay. It's almost like a wave of softness moves through the collective field. You're going to see it a little bit more quiet this week with more compassion. Right? This is where like the caterpillar is truly dissolving. Okay. So by Thursday, this is where the heart gets to rewrite. Okay. So we've got Venus sextiling Pluto, and trining Saturn. Venus is going to sextile Pluto, but it's going to trine Saturn. Okay. So this is subtle, but it's like a powerful turning point, but it's not going to feel aggressive. Okay. This week is not about aggressive. Right. So the way you may feel it is you may realize exactly what you want and what you don't want. Okay. You'll feel it like clarity where you don't have to think so hard about or feel so hard about or make sure that it's correct what you're seeing and feeling. Okay. It's like it just sort of arrives without effort. Okay. Also, a sense, like you'll get a sense, a boundary will lock into place peacefully. Like, it won't be aggressive. It'll just be, this is my boundary, and that's the way it is for me, right? Also, you may feel the old pain that you've had for a while sort of loosening its grip, okay? And then you also may understand that love must feel different now, okay? This is all a part of where that heart is rewriting, okay? On a collective level or globally, we may see agreement shifts or realignment happens behind the scenes. People make choices that reveal true value, okay? We may see this out in the collective. Now, by Friday is where Saturn goes direct. Okay. So Saturn's been retrograde. He is going to go direct in Pisces. Okay. Um, so this is like we've revised, relooked, redone, and Saturn is finally going direct. Okay. So this is like your karmic forward motion. Okay. This is the first step when Saturn moves direct. This is like the first step out of the cocoon. Okay, so you may feel like a block that you've had or couldn't see is suddenly lifted. Okay, you may also receive a sign or confirmation that it has lifted, right? Or that it is clear and it is easy now. It is open for you to do it and move forward. Okay, so you could also get movement, and this kind of goes with the same thing as like you're getting the okay and you're seeing it to move forward on something that's been stuck for a while. Okay, you could also feel better, grounded again, like, oh, I feel safe, I feel stable, I feel good, right? When Saturn goes direct, you may feel clearer and more stable and more grounded. Okay, you may also feel brave enough to choose differently because you're going to see it. It's going to be clear for you. It's not going to be, especially the part of wherever part that you're having is like been stuck for a while and you've been trying everything. That is going to clear up. Okay. So, collectively or globally, we may see systems reorganize and we may see the delays that had come before, they're resolving now. Okay, so maybe a stalled conversation or a negotiation reopens. We may see that out in public. Okay, now that's Friday. By Saturday, this is when Mercury goes direct. So let's go to Saturday. So by the next day, Mercury goes direct, right? So this is where the mind aligns with the soul, right? So now we're going to have Saturn direct and Mercury direct, right? So this is where your story begins to update. Remember, this Saturn going direct is like the first step out of the cocoon, right? And then here comes Mercury to help your story get updated. Okay. So you may, at this point, understand the lesson of the last 3 weeks. Okay. You also may have a conversation that flows again. You also may clear a misunderstanding if you had one with someone. Okay. You also may finally say what you mean. You also may feel mentally aligned and steady. Okay. So, as far as globally or the collective, we may see announcements that shift tone. Okay. Like the announcements have a very different tone this time. We may also see new information that comes out. Okay. Also, something that didn't make sense before suddenly does. Like you get clarity with this. Okay. All right. Beautiful ones. You are not losing yourself this week. This is an important week. You're leaving the version of you that survived by shrinking. You're leaving that version that learned to survive by shrinking. You're leaving that version of you. The metamorphosis, it's not destruction. You're just reorganizing yourself. Okay? The cocoon dissolves what you were so that you can become what you are. So let this week soften you. Let it loosen the old identity. Let it rewrite you from the inside out. Because once metamorphosis begins, nothing can stop who you're becoming. And before we close today, for those who've been asking what the difference between my two membership tiers are, because people have joined and they joined the Rebelutionary and they should have joined the Inner Pathway. I'm going to explain it to you. The Rebelutionary tier is your doorway into the community. It's the love, the support, the connection, right? But the Inner Pathway, that's where the videos are, where I go deeper into the deep dive, and the others. The Inner Pathway is the one that you want to click on if you want the videos. That's where the transformation actually happens, right? So inside the Inner Pathway, you'll receive the deep dive. That's the long form breakdown of the week's shadow contracts, where the real identity work begins. Then we do what's called an embodiment practice. That's another video. That's where I give you the somatics. We do those together, the herbal stuff and herbal and rituals and tapping and all of that. That rewires. We're working on your nervous system to hold the new self, right? Then we do the guided transmission. That's another video. That's the channel journey. That's where the teacher speaks directly to the part of you that's emerging. So if this week touched something tender inside you, if you feel the cocoon thinning, and if you're ready to live the metamorphosis consciously, beautiful one, come join me inside the Inner Pathway. It's where the sky offers its wisdom, and you choose how to shape it. But until next time, keep your frequency clear, your choices intentional, and your heart in the flow.